Back to another episode of Getting Together Garage. Today we're going to be starting on our tow package build on our 19 Silverado, and what we got today is this kind of package. We got this, and this is going to be my towing rig for towing our cars up to the racetrack this year to be able to do our drag racing. So I'm going to show you what we got here real quick, and we'll kind of get into the build, but I'm going to do it in steps, see what we got, kind of stuff going on. So let's go on ahead and try to see what we got going on. So for our package, I initially had bought these probably about 2 years ago because I knew I was going to be doing everything to this truck. I did the lift kit first, and it's a 2-inch, 2.5 or 3-inch lift kit total that I put in the back end, which is blocks, as you can see there on the leaf spring. So that's why I needed these, which these are spacers for the airbags, which are these, which is the Ultimate Plus 5000 model, and this is for like 2014 I believe to 2019, which is the last model for this body style truck. And this is all the model numbers that you'll need and all the other stuff. This one comes with a stainless steel braided line, the U-bolts you're going to need, the airbags, mount brackets, and some more brackets over here in the U-bolt brackets. Hardware also included. So this is a whole airbag system itself. It doesn't come with the compressor or nothing, but you can make it so you can do a air chuck to it to fill up your bags, is what this kit comes with. But we're not going to be doing that. So what we're doing is we're doing a onboard heavy duty mount air compressor, which is what we got here. It comes with a wireless remote, and so you can control it anywhere in the vehicle. You can go outside even to look at your truck, see how that's sitting, or you can even do it off your phone, which is what they're showing here. So you can do stuff off your phone too. So if you don't want to use the remote, you can leave it in your truck so you don't lose it, or vice versa. So this also comes with a airbag kit, like the lines and everything you'll need. But all in all, this one looks pretty simple. It's just a main wire to the battery, and then that's really about it. There's no extra splicing. I think this might even come with a gauge. I'll let you know when we get into this thing, because I'm not quite sure what's going to be in here. But this also comes with mounting hardware too. Not really sure where I'm going to be mounting this yet. Not sure if I'm going to mount it up in the engine bay or if I'm going to mount it in the frame somewhere. Not sure yet, so that's got to figure out kind of deal. So we got that. Then for all those who kind of yelled at me whenever I first initially put a lift kit on these kind of trucks, or any trucks, I have a rule of thumb, since I'm actually replacing the shocks now. Okay, you guys yelled at me whenever I was doing 2-inch, 2.5-inch lift kit, saying that I needed to put new shocks on. So the thing is, it's slightly different if you're not taking it off-roading, because it's not going to see no harsh environments, or it's not going to be flexing crazy on the axles where it's going to be bottoming the shocks out. This is something I knew I was going to eventually buy, just at the time I didn't have the money to buy it, so I didn't buy them. So I just kind of did it on a budget till I needed to do this, because I'm going to need to put the new longer shocks on, which these are made to go from a 2-inch to a 4-inch lift total. Because I knew I needed the spacers for the airbags, so I have those, and that's going to raise it up about another 3 to 4 inches depending on what I got going on. I can let air out of it too, so it's not going to be bottoming out or anything of that sort, or it's going to be extended high, so it'll be enough for what I got to do. So I'm replacing the shocks now, but I don't do it unless I know I need to replace shocks, which all the lift kits I've done, they hardly ever go and see any off-roading. I mean, you got your typical camping trip, which is going to be mostly the extent, unless you're going to go and really go rock crawling with it, which in the Pittsburgh area, kind of hard to do. So we're doing mostly hill climbing, because everything around here is a hill, and just camping kind of stuff. So shocks are only necessary if you absolutely need them, which most of the time we don't need them, but we're going to replace them eventually because we're trying to do things on a budget so that most people around here can do this kind of stuff. But one other thing is these airbags are also designed to run on 0 psi because they have a bump joust in here, or bump stop, to keep it from bottoming out and blowing the bags out. So that's also the main reason why I went with this model, the 5000 Ultimate Plus, because I wanted to be able to run, in case just for every reason it ever happened, I'd at least be able to be safe of driving home if an airline blew out or something stupid like that. So I wanted these just for that reason. For the most part, I'm going to probably have 3 to 5 pounds of them total at all times, unless I'm towing a car, so then it'll probably have 80 psi total. So that's everything we got here, other than we also got some shock boots too, because I'm going to put those on here so they're protected from the weather too, and we'll be good to go on that. So that's really about all I have. That's my summary of why I'm now replacing some stuff now, so that way everybody's up to speed so they understand my thinking of it. But everybody is different. Sometimes you have the money to do it, sometimes you don't, so we're doing what we can. But we're going to start off by putting the new shocks on first, because that doesn't take anything, or it doesn't involve anything taking it out. And we'll just get the new shock boots on, and we'll get the shocks on, and then we'll get these mounted up to the springs, get the springs all into place, see what we're going to need to do. Then we'll worry about putting that in, because I'm not sure where we're going to be putting that yet. So that's on the last thing to do list. So, and the spacers for the bag also come with its own hardware too, in case anybody's wondering. And there's instructions inside the box too, in case anybody's also wondering. So that's that. But yeah, let's kind of kick us into overdrive, get the shocks on, then we'll worry about getting the bags all melted up. So let's go and jump into it. All right. So one of the first things we're going to do is get these shocks cleaned up and get them assembled with the boots. So what we need to put the metal clamps on, which I like the ones with the metal clamps better than the ones with the zip ties, because these can usually tend to hold a lot better and you get a lot stronger of an impact on these. So I always insist on using these. They're really not that expensive. You can go to Harbor Freight and get a whole pack of them for probably not even $5. So I'd recommend that because they're pretty cheap. But to start this off, we're gonna go ahead and spray our towel and actually spray our shock with some brake cleaner, because these ones for some reason came in super oily. So just get them nice and cleaned up. That way everything's good to go. No grease stains, no nothing. Everything's nice and happy. So what we're going to need to do now is we're going to collapse the shock to get the metal spring off. All you got to do is put your weight on it, undo the hook, and there you go. Just let it fully extend itself. We'll do that with the other one too. Okay, so that's that. And then what we do now is we go on ahead, slide our boot over top with a bushing. Just kind of work it down through. It's going to get a little tight around the end because it gets smaller as it goes longer. You take the folded lip and you pull it over top of the metal lip that is around the top, and then you take your boot or your clamp, take it from the bottom, pull this down from the top, pull this over top of the shock body itself. And all we gotta do is we'll readjust these when it's on the truck, but I believe from how it sits, they should be something kind of like this side of the vehicle. Then just take an impact and run it in. Oh, make sure it's straight. This has some torque. And there you go, just like that. Good to go. So we'll do the other one, same way. Okay, we got our shocks together. Now we need our 21 millimeters sockets and wrenches. You gotta take off that one bolt there, and then you come over here. See if I can lay on the ground. There's one all the way up there that we gotta get out to. So we're gonna be using. I might be able to get my impact up there. But I'm gonna get the shocks out, then we shall figure out what we gotta do after that. So I'll let you know. Let me get the bolts out and we'll go from there. Okay, so we got the old shocks out. We have 2 bolts. I made sure that my bolts will fit through the openings. So all we gotta do now is just reinstall it, which it should just snap. So I still got their bolt right here in my hand. I'm gonna squeeze some things around, dislocate my shoulder, and press it in. Like that. Something like that. Okay. Then we're gonna take our other shock bolt, and this is how the bolt came out from the bottom. That's how the bolt went in from the top. We'll go ahead and compress this up a little bit. Push it through. Bada bang, bada boom. Run these guys in. We're ready to rock and talk and roll. Grabbing my wrench, I'll tighten this on down too. And there we go. Brand new shock is installed. Let me get the other one in and we'll start on the next project. Okay, now that we got the shocks on, we're going to move straight to the airbag itself. And what we got is, we got 2 airbags here that have an inlet for air and then 2 bolts on each one for how you mount them. And you got 2 more bolts on the bottom. And for a part number, in case you're wondering what these they're 58496, I believe. Yep, 58496. So that's for each part number of that. This kit comes with a twin air inlet, I believe. Gotta see what exactly this is going to, because I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you. We've got 2 main air inlets that are going to go to the bags itself. This is going to be for, it's stainless steel, so it keeps the environment off the plastic lines. Keep those from getting as brittle quickly. These are the 2 bottom mounts, I believe. Let me check. So yes, here's the exploded view, which I know most people say throw the instructions out, but sometimes it's better off just to, you know, follow a few things here and there. But these brackets are for the very bottom. They're going to go on like that. Then the bag will go on top of here, but I'm putting my spacers on, so that way it takes place of the space that I need. So that way I can get the airbag sitting up that extra 2-inch higher that I put the lift on. In case some of you have the questions about that, which also, if you guys are looking to buy these, all these part numbers are pretty easily found on Amazon if you are looking, because I don't exactly have a supplier for these. I just kind of got the part number I needed and looked them up, and boom, there we go. Free shipping too. So these are going to be going together in steps, which I'll show you them once I get bulks of it together to figure out what we're going to be doing. But we got our U-bolts, which are in this bracket, in this bag here. The main U-bolts to hold them down. More brackets to go underneath, bolt this to the axle. And that's pretty much mainly about it. And then you also got an airline clamp here that'll keep the airline from floating around. So pretty simple. Also have the instructions for the air lift, or the spacers that just kind of bolts down, and you can go from there, which we're not going to be using 2 of these bolts for these. So that's pretty much simple enough for that. Then you got the upper mounts that'll go upside down like this, that'll bolt to the frame. And then, yeah. Bing, bang, boom. Comes with a couple fittings, which we'll be using different fittings for our air compressor. So we'll have to figure that all out together. But that's what we're going to be using to figure this stuff out. So let me go ahead and start getting some of the stuff mounted up, and we'll figure something out. Okay, we got some stuff situated, some stuff figured out. So what we're going to show is, I'm going to show you how to do this in a second. But what we did was remove the wheels from the vehicle. You're going to have to remove both side bump stops that go right here. And then there is a main line, which you can kind of see up there. This main harness, you have to disconnect a little bit for some leeway. And then the ABS wire that is plugged in right here on the frame, you're going to take that out, take the plastic clip out that looks like this, or unless yours is a little different. And this is going to take place of that, and the metal part of this is going to have to be facing forward of the truck. And then do that on both sides like I did over there. And then now we should be getting ready to start bolting some stuff up here. But there's one more bracket I got to put, I believe, for... I think it's the brake line I need to put on. I'll have to look into it, but I'll let you know when I get to that part in just a second. And then, for the third clamp, it goes right on the diff. So you have to pull the old bolt out, and then you have to replace it wherever I put that bracket at. Then you have to take this old bracket out that used to be on the rear end, and this replaces that. So that's that, so let's move on to that. Okay, so once you have your brake lines and everything all readjusted for clearance, we're going to take our little nifty tool here, which I already put NICs on it. And this is just a thread winder that you can put through hard to reach areas. So all you do is you go and put that into the frame, and you should be able to feed it through the bottom. I mean, usually you feed this the opposite way. I don't know how I'm doing it now, but you can go ahead and feed it through the bottom like that, and then you just pull your bolt right on through. It makes it that simple, like that. I'm gonna drop our washer in first, and the bolt. And then it should just kind of drop down once it goes in, if it goes in, like that. And there we go. So then we'll figure out what else we got to bolt onto that in a second, but we're going to go ahead and get that off, get the other side in too. Okay, now we're ready to start putting the bags in. So there's a difference on each of these, which on here you can kind of see this one has a L on it, very faint, but this is going to be for the left side, and that one has an R for the right side. So there's going to be one bolt that we just put into the frame that's going to go right here. Then there's going to be another bolt over here, and then I believe there's going to be like a U-bolt that goes over top of the frame for this side. So we're going to go ahead and get this in place real quick and see what we got. So then you get your one nut in on like that. And then for trucks that don't have a heat shield, that is right above the gas tank right here, you don't need to worry about taking no bolts apart. All you got to do is slide the U-bolt on over top. And then that'll go right into where we need it to be. Just 1 second. There is brake lines. I'm gonna be a little extra careful. I don't like it. Alright, so I got the U-bolt in. Just be aware that there is 2 brake lines up there, hard brake lines, that you have to make sure you get the bolt in between without pinching them, because then that'll be a bad day for if you're trying to stop at a red light or down a hill or something. Then it just kind of sits over top like that, good to go. We'll get our hardware, start bolting it up, then we'll be ready to start bolting the bottom on. There is a clamp I have to get, possibly, I think, maybe not. I don't know, I gotta look to see, but there might be a clamp or something that has to go to this emergency brake line. But I don't think I'll need to be honest with you, because I don't know if it's gonna interrupt anything. We'll find out. I gotta look around and I'll let you know. Okay, now I'm running on a daylight now. We got everything kind of situated on both sides. So all you gotta do, which I started this first, is I started with the one bolt that centers the bracket on the frame, and then I started tightening up the U-bolt on both sides. Go evenly, because it does pull down separately, or more on one side if you go tighter. So you'll tighten those up all first, including this bracket, and then you're gonna go ahead and tighten up the there's a clamp that goes on the bottom into this main perch that's right above where the shock mount is, and that goes into the little groove in here. And then make sure that it is on the edge of this tab right here, because that's what's going to pull this whole thing down towards the drive shaft itself. So then you'll tighten up these nuts here, which I started from the front. That kind of centered everything, because that pulled that one, everything all forward. And then I did the back. And that's pretty much about it for actually mounting the bolts in. And a little secret to getting this back bolt is have a long or just deep socket for a 14 on a 1/4 inch ratchet. This will just fit nicely in there to be able to get it to or get a grip onto the bolt. And I also have a swivel head, makes it a lot easier. So then all you gotta do is just be gentle so you don't lose the socket in there, and you just pull it back out and good to go. So next we gotta do then is just get the air lines run for the airbags, and then that'll pretty much put us where we need to be. So I'm gonna go and throw the wheels and tires back on this, and then we'll get all the airlines all figured out. So let's go and do that. Okay, we got the airbags in place. That's all good to go. Now we're gonna work on to the electricals and the air compressor. So what we got is we got the air compressor itself right here, and how they want this thing to be mounted is pretty much, I'm going to assume, with the plug facing upward, because on here they say to, where is it at? It says mount the middle, who's down here? So easy mount can be mounted in any orientation except for electrical connector pointed down or the airlift logo facing the ground. So they want the electrical plug facing upwards and this not facing the ground. So I guess because of something with how it holds water possibly. So we're going to be mounting it on the frame just like this, long ways, and all we're going to be using is our U-bolt here, and this is big enough to go over top of our center of the frame. This is going to be going underneath the cab, and then all we're going to be needing is just lock washers and some washers, and this is going to be to mount the wiring once we get it all wired up along the back side for the main plug pigtail. And then we got to mount the air breather for this thing to go closer to the bed of the truck. I'll have to try to see if there's a good place that doesn't see a lot of water. So I'll be using a little bit of this line to get that mounted on here and have this mounted somewhere. And then we're going to be using some of this black line, the airline fitting, or the airline, mixed in with our stainless steel airline. So how I figured this out is that the airbag itself has one of these fittings on it already that I put on. Let me get this off so I can show you. So already the elbow that I put on the airbags has this fitting to fit on the both sides. So what I'm going to be doing is I'll screw this onto the bag, and then we're going to have this. We're going to be putting about a 4 to 5 inch piece of plastic line in here to connect to the elbow. And on the diagram here it shows the bag going up to the frame cross member going into the elbow, so that's why we need that little piece. Then we're going to be doing it on both sides. We're going to be having one line going from the compressor up and around to that first elbow that's on the passenger side. And I have another piece of black line going and connecting both T's. And then we'll be having the last piece of black line going up to the license plate to be able to put in a Schrader valve in case the airbags for some reason don't work, or if the fuse blows. We'll have that figured out. And then the wiring is pretty simple. They give us the black wire to connect to the battery for a negative. And then we have a fusible link that we'll be cutting to splice in to connect to the battery. And then that's honestly about it for the wiring. You just literally plug it right into the compressor, the module, I guess they call it the, excuse me, what is it called? I forget what they call it. It's fine, don't worry about it. But yeah, that's honestly as simple as that. So I'm going to go ahead and get the compressor mounted first, and then we'll worry about getting the air lines ran, and then we'll do the electrical on, or at the end. So let me go ahead and get this in place, and we'll start getting some stuff mounted up. Okay, so we have a nice little opening right here that we're going to put the compressor at. And I'm thinking it's going to be pretty much right in the center. So I need to have the electrical plugs facing upwards. Pretty much like that. Something like that. That's what we're looking at right now. Let's see what can I get. Something like that. Alright, so once you have your compressor mounted, we're going to get our two main lines going to the airbags, and we are going to go and connect them. And I'm going to use my stainless steel line that have the threads on it. If you have the plastic lines, it's just going to be a push clip, and all you have to do is just push a piece of plastic line into the fitting. That would be it for you. But I'm going to do it my way and put this on, and it's a 9/16 or 14 millimeter, depending on if yours are metric or not, which usually they're going to be standard. And all we're going to do is just get a little snug, not too tight, but enough to make sure it's not going to go anywhere, like that. Do the same on that side. Yeah, and then we're going to get this line up there too. Okay. Just gonna give it a little snug up. Okay, so there's that. So now we're gonna have to run the plastic line for the compressor to back here. We're not gonna cut it until we know where we're gonna mount it. So we're going to figure out how to get it from all the way up there to back about here. So we're going to be tying the compressor into this fitting first, but we're going to be winding this pretty much back up into a spool and tying it away. I might put it in the frame even, just so it doesn't look as messy. But then we'll kind of figure out something else from there. So let me go and get the line around the back here, and I'll let you guys know. Okay, we got everything run. I just gotta put some rubber lines on some spots just to make sure nothing's gonna rub, like up in here. I have it run through the frame. I got the wire, the hose zip tied to the old bump stop mounts. Same with over there. Everything is plumbed. I got the lines running through back here. That's how they want you to run it, so you can always run an air chuck to it if you need it. So all I gotta do now is just run my wiring, which I already put my fittings on, connected my inline fuse, also my other adapter. So all we got to do now is connect this wire to the pump, insert a ground, and then we will be good to see if it works. So let me get the hood popped, get the wire run in place real quick, and then we'll finish wiring everything up. Okay, so all has been run, and as you can see up in here, it's a little dark, sorry. Got the wiring all plugged in, the main wire, or the main lines all hardened up, or hard lined in, and the breather line also plugged into the cab to keep it from seeing any form of weather. I ran it through a pressure vent up there, so up in behind the cab you can just barely get your fingers on it up in there. So I ran my air breather up in there, then I ran the wires, which I still got to finish tidying up. It's just for demo processing right now to figure out what I'm going to do, but I need to finish tidying all the wires up through the front, and then up in here you take his cover off, and there's a few different plates you can connect to. I connected mine right to where this outlet is opened up right here, and then also connected it to the negative cable there. I just kind of have the wires bungeed up here for now until I get everything finalized. Just I don't have enough time today, but it's good enough to do demonstration purposes. And then whenever you're done, once you get some air going through your lines, which I'll show you how things are working out in a second, you're going to double check all your fittings, make sure everything is pushed in all the way so you don't have any leaks. I'm not sure if I have one yet or not. I might have to double check one line to make sure it's not cracked, but everything is in place of what I need. These are running at 5 psi, so just kind of make sure everything's kind of pushed into place, nothing's out of ordinary. It's only one line here, and then all your T fittings back here, main fittings, which should be tightened down. So and then just the one other fitting off to the back for the Schrader valve, so you can always do a manual fill up if you absolutely have to, if you have a blown fuse or whatever. So that's that. Let me go and get these bags to air up for you so you guys can see what it does, and gotta demonstrate what we are doing with. So I'm starting us off here, starting at 5 psi. Initially had 0 in it. We're going to take it up to 50 psi. You'll see how much it actually climbs up in inches. It gained a good at least 3 inches there. Everything's working as it should. Look at that. Perfect. Looks good. And then to let the air pressure out, drop it all the way back down to where you want it, which I'm going to leave it at 5 because that's all they recommend to drive it at without a heavy load. And lets it all go back out, back to about factory height. Sweet. What we got. So all in all, everything is a pretty big success, I would say. That everything's working. We're ready to start towing pretty much. I'm just gonna double check all the fittings one more time, tidy up the wires, and we're good to go. I even put some rubber line over top of some of the some of the main air lines that I have running through the frame, so it prevents it from chafing off the frame and cutting any holes in it, because that would definitely suck one day if you were towing and a line blew. So I would recommend putting either wire loom around your 1/4 inch line, or putting rubber hose around it to help prevent any kind of form of deterioration from the frame. So I would recommend doing that, but everything's good. Shocks work. So I have the extra couple inches whenever I lift this thing up. It does get up pretty high, like it gains about another 2-3 inches just from 30 psi. So it sits up pretty high now having that in, so it's good to start towing. So what we're going to be doing next is getting the Camaro prepped, and meaning by that is just checking oil, checking the plugs, make sure everything's good on that, and then I got one leak I got to fix that's on the transmission. I think it's a dipstick tube gasket that goes into the transmission on the top. I think mine's bad, so I have one for the car. I just got to get to the car now, so that's going to be on the next update video of getting things together to start drag racing. But the truck is basically there for us to start drag racing. I might need a battery too, because it seems to keep wanting to die on me. But that's as expected for a 4-year-old battery, so that's going to be on the next to buy list, unfortunately. But we'll make do with what we got, make things happen. But I think that's going to do it for this episode for getting the truck ready to go. I hope you guys enjoyed. Next is going to be doing the big steps of getting the Camaro ready, and then after that we'll hit the strip and see what we do for our first run, because I've never drag raced before and I'm quite curious to do it. Like I said, my dad's done it before too, but I've never was old enough to drive whenever he was doing it, so this is going to be new for me and I'm excited to do it. We might even take a few other cars to the track to see how they run, just for fun. Again, not trying to break any records, but just have fun, you know. That's the main goal of doing anything vehicle wise, automotive, in the automotive world, that most of us all do for. So it's gonna be fun. So that's it for what I got for you guys. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave a comment if you guys have any questions, or if you want to know where to get this stuff, or if you guys want any part numbers, let me know. I'll get you part numbers. But that's gonna do it for us. But thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you on the next episode. Have a good one.